Welcome to the Positively No Gambling Podcast, the pro football show that is definitely not about betting. My name is Glenn Fraser. It's Tuesday, August 12th, and this is the 2025 team preview for the Green Bay Packers. So here's how these previews work. We review two big questions from the start of the offseason, recap the 2024 season, preview the 2025 team, look at some trends, stats, early betting line leans, conclude on the two big questions, and then give out a preliminary over-under pick for the season total. The final over-under pick will be part of the conference previews, which we'll post right before the season kicks off. And with that said, let's dig into the Packers. So the two big questions at this point with the Packers are: is Jordan Love great? How good is he? Can he take the next step towards being one of the league's best quarterbacks? Because I think we all agree if he does, this is a very scary team. And the second question is, can they win this division, get some home field advantage, play at least one playoff game at Lambeau? Because the past couple of seasons, because they've been a wild card team, they've been put in some really tough spots. Last year, that game in Philly, they kind of were never in that game. 2 years ago against the Packers, the Niners, I think it was. Even though they won the game before that in Dallas, it was just it's a very difficult road to the Super Bowl on the road, obviously. And the Packers have such a home field advantage that their best shot at a Super Bowl will be for the playoffs to come through them. So moving on to the 2024 recap, Packers finished 11 and 6, which was good for third in the NFC North. They lost that game to the Eagles in the wild card round. Started off a little shaky. They had the Jordan Love injury in the kickoff game. They were without him for a few games. Started off 2-2. Then they had this real nice stretch where they went 7-1, but ended with a real whimper at 2-3. Not much momentum coming into the playoff game. Then that loss to the Eagles really left you with a little bit of a disappointment to end the season. They were 2-5 against playoff teams. They had a real tough schedule and some bad schedule luck, but for the most part, they achieved what their record is what they were. They were an 11 and 16. They were 5-5 in one score games. Definite talent, inconsistency, and they came up short against the league's best teams. So no real surprises with how this 24 team ended up. Moving into the 2025 overview for the offense, really did not lose anybody. AJ Dillon went to Philly, and backup center went to the Jets, Josh Myers. In terms of what they added a guard, Aaron Banks. He's projected to start. Obviously, a big story during draft time was finally they drafted a wide receiver, Matthew Golden. They also drafted Savion Williams a little bit later on in the draft. Anthony Belton and John Williams were some later round tackles that they drafted, and they got McCall Hardman from Kansas City. Neither one of those guys should be too much of a factor when it comes to the starters in Green Bay. In terms of blue chips, Josh Jacobs is a back that is just tremendous. Had a great season last year, and high potential guys Zach Tom, Elton Jenkins, their center, and obviously Jordan Love. So pretty solid line. And Jordan Love, we have seen him be great, but I think we all question whether he can be great on a week-to-week basis and whether he can become one of the league's best. Matthew Golden is the X factor. If he can, not immediately, but if he can actually be a reliable, solid, consistent wide receiver, this offense has everything else that they need to be great. It's certainly not a make or break year for any one person or this entire unit, but to beat Detroit, to beat Philly, to beat San Francisco, the Rams, the Bucks, you're going to have to outscore them and you're going to have to score upwards of 30 points per game. And that's something that they're really needing to do this year. Defense, boy, this is a talented defense and a good defense, but it's a little bit of a no-name defense. They lost Jair Alexander. Was that a big loss? Probably not. A couple other rotational guys they lost, TJ Slayton, Eric Stokes, not considered major losses. In terms of additions, they added Nate Hobbs from Vegas. He's expected to start as a corner or at least become their nickelback. They drafted Baron Sorrell at edge and Colin Oliver at edge. Edge is where they really, and this is either you have an edge or you're looking for an edge. I mean, that's really the NFL in 2025. And Rashawn Gary's pretty good. Lucas Van Ness has shown some signs. It's definitely not a great pass rush, but I think that Gary and Edgerrin Cooper, well, Gary at edge, and then Edgerrin Cooper as the sort of interior linebacker are some high potential guys, along with Xavier McKinney, who's one of the best safeties in football. In terms of the X factor, it's broken record. It's the edges, Van Ness and Sorrell, if potentially he could be a difference maker out of the draft. Definitely not make or break. This is a really good defense, but they need to improve the pass rush. And if they do revert back to sort of, if they take steps back, the offense leveling up becomes that much more important. Looking to the 25 schedule, it's NFC North, so it's tough. Either 26th or 23rd ranks, definitely challenging. Really, really tough at home. Depending on which way you look at it, it could be very easy on the road. Um, Now, the Packers don't really travel. They're covering the spread on the road. They are, I think, a little bit below the mean. So an easier road schedule mitigates that fact. And they really, really need to take advantage of these games being in Lambeau. To start the season, they're kicking off versus Detroit versus Washington. That's brutal. They've got Cincinnati at home, Philly at home. That's a big one. And Baltimore. Those are sort of the extra games to add on top of the normal division games that look very challenging. Your schedule is your schedule. You have to play it. You're better off facing these teams in Lambeau than on the road, but a lot of playoff teams, a lot of tough matchups here. But this is the NFC North. This is you wanna get to the Super Bowl, you gotta you gotta beat a lot of good teams. All right, some of the stats and the early against the spread leans, like I said, they kind of were what their record showed. Slightly underachieved, but not even by a full game. They were 5-5 in one score games. Turnover differential, this will revert. That's something that jumps out. 23 to 24. They won two more games, not anything to really concern you with. Schedule tough last year, tough this year. Unlucky schedule last year. Maybe that helps this year. We'll see. We talked about their line. Really good pass protection. Not as good run protection, but Josh Jacobs is so good, it didn't really matter. And for the D line, they need to improve both pass rush and run stop, which they definitely invested some capital in. I really like the Packers this year. Very similar to Denver. If you talked to me at the beginning of the offseason, I would have told you this is the team. They're going to win the division. They're going to have a good shot at the conference. Now, with some of the offseason changes, some of the deeper analytics, some of the stats about Love and his pass catchers, I'm a little bit less enthusiastic, but I still really like this team. We talked about a soft road schedule. They need to take advantage of that. I like them week 4 at the Cowboys. Right now, they're only a point and a half favorite. Week 9 versus the Panthers at home in Lambeau, just a touchdown favorite. By the time they play this game, that could be 10 and a half. Week 11 at the Giants, always a tricky place to play. They're a road favorite, but I don't expect the Giants to be very good. And only 3.5 points at home, week 14 versus the Bears. I know the Bears are expected to be better, but you could get away with a 6.5 point favorite, in my opinion, in that game. Um, we talked about the home schedule, really tough, and the wide receivers just need to catch the ball more, and that's very easy to say, and it's a lot more difficult to accomplish. But I've seen this team at their best, and I think that it's an elite one. They just need to become more consistent. So, did they address their two big questions? First one was about Jordan Love. Maybe. I'm a bigger believer than a lot of people out there. I think that he's got all the tools. It's just about execution at this point. And will they win this division by beating Minnesota and Detroit? Considering that both of those teams I'm a little more down on, and I'm not as big of a fan of what Chicago has done than others, I think they might. I'm going to take the over 9.5. That number, I like that over. I think they get from 10 to 12 wins. Should compete for the division. Decent value to win the division, 2.5 to 1. It might just be worth betting them to win the division versus the over. And this is not a slam dunk. They need to play better against the league's best and their division's best. Love must get better, must improve, and a better overall division because of we think Chicago's going to be better. It's going to be a brutal schedule, but that's the NFL. That's the Packers. They always have this, and I think they're ready to step up, and I'm going to take the over. That concludes the Packers. We will come back to you tomorrow with lucky number 13, which is the I think it's the Texans, right? Yes, the Houston Texans tomorrow. So that'll be a fun team to talk about. And that is concluding the show today. Thanks.